Let's start with a new question today. Information system risks and risk management. Now let's see some common points. Okay, to understand what is the theory or the flow behind the further questions. Changes in business processes attracts threats and risks. Risk means something bad is going to happen or possibility of something adverse happening. Risk management is the process of assessing the risk and then applying controls and reducing the risk to acceptable level, which means reducing a risk to within the risk appetite of the organization. What is risk appetite? It is the pain threshold or level of tolerable error. Then the risk is inherent in nature, which means it can never be eliminated. Okay, there is always going to be inherent risk. Auditor will evaluate whether controls are sufficient. If they are not sufficient, he will report the same to the senior management. How auditor will evaluate the controls? He will read the information system security policy, procedures, standards, guidelines. Okay. So information system security policy includes policies, procedures, standards, and guidelines. Now, based on point of impact of risk, how the risk may materialize. Based on the point of impact of risk, controls are classified as in three categories: preventive controls, detective controls, and corrective controls. Now, controls which prevents the risks from materializing. For example, a security guard outside the IT department. He will prevent an unauthorized user from entering the IT department. So that is a preventive control. Then detective control. It will detect the risk as they rise. If an unauthorized person is trying to access the system, till the point where ID password controls are not there, it will not be able to detect. But as soon as you try to enter your ID password and he has attempted 3 times and still after 3 times he is not able to enter the correct credentials, it will automatically detect a attack. Okay, so these are the detection risks or detection controls, ID, password, and all. After that, we have corrective controls to facilitate correction of defects. If the antivirus was not updated, it will make sure that it is updated regularly, and if it was not updated, accordingly we will make changes to the maintenance schedule. Okay, updating the antivirus comes under maintenance schedule. We will make sure why it was not updated. Okay, so we will do correction of defects. So this was just some common theory. I think we have seen it earlier also. Moving on. Now let's see how to do risk management. We will use this strategy based on the type of risk we are facing. Okay. On the basis of the threats or risks, we will have a different plan of action. So first strategy is tolerate the risk. Here, the impact and probability is low, but we make sure that we review it periodically. Then the next one is we terminate the risk. How do we terminate the risk? By replacing the technology or the vendor from whom we are either using the information technology or is providing us IT services. Then we transfer the risk mitigation by insurance company, or we outsource the entire processing, or we appoint someone who is specialized, okay, like qualified and specialized management staff. Then we treat the risk. We will impose controls. If the controls are able to reduce the risk or eliminate the risk, then that is what is treatment of risk. After that, we have turn back or ignore, where the impact and probability of occurrence is very low. Okay, now let's take an example. Now I will take a name of a incident or a threat agent. You have to identify which risk management strategy you will use. Okay, earthquake. If there is earthquake, which strategy you will use? Tell me, in case of earthquake, if the area is not earthquake prone area, okay, the impact and probability is already very low. So which strategy you will use?
Transfer or trade.
Okay, if there is earthquake, how can we transfer the risk?
By insuring the asset. If it's earthquake, my asset will get damaged. For that, I can get an insurance for it.
Yes, so you will get an insurance from the insurance company. But you can see that the last 10 years, there is no earthquake. And one of the board members is saying that there can be earthquake. Will you do something about it or will you just ignore that?
I ignore that.
We will ignore it. Okay.
But insurance will cover all the risk, no?
See, we are talking about information systems. If we are saying that we will insure something, we are only talking about information systems. Now, when we are talking about risk management strategies, we are thinking about only protection of information systems. So this has nothing to do with the other assets and all, the insurance of them and all. We have to only assume that we are talking about here only about information systems.
Then ignore it.
Yes, ignore it. If I give you examples like flood, tsunami, earthquake, lightning strike, then labor strike, okay, what you are going to do, you are going to ignore it, okay, because the impact and probability of occurrence is very low. Now, there is one customer feedback, okay, that customer feedback is very serious. Will you ignore that also? You know that all the customers are not talking like that. Okay, there are only one or two customers who are talking like that. So will you ignore that feedback also, or will you take it seriously?
I will not ignore it, sir, but will not take it seriously also, but probably will consider it.
Okay. In which of the strategies are we considering?
Upon that.
Okay, so we will tolerate the risk.
Treat.
Okay.
Oh,
We will tolerate it because it is our responsibility to take care of the customers. We are supposed to take his feedback and we are supposed to review it periodically. The impact and probability is low. Okay. In some cases, there is absolutely no impact, but it is our responsibility to take care of our customers. So we will review it periodically. In any of the strategies, nowhere are we reviewing it periodically. We are only reviewing it periodically in tolerate the risk. Okay. We are just going to accept that this is the cost of doing business. And so we are going to tolerate it. Okay. But in case of flood, tsunami, earthquake and all, we are going to just ignore the risk. Now, fire. Will you ignore the fire? Okay, I didn't take a fire example earlier. Okay, this can happen. Okay, there is a certainty that this is going to happen. So what will you do if there is a fire?
We'll treat the risk.
Share the risk.
Yes, we will transfer the risk.
Share also do.
Okay, we will make arrangements with the fire department. We will conduct mock drills. We will take training programs and all. So that is what we are transferring the risk. If the information systems are damaged in those cases, here risk mitigation will be done by insurance company. Or if we want our organization to be more secure, we will directly shift the processing part to outside party. So what we are doing is we are outsourcing it, or we will have a team, okay, action team, which will take action immediately after the incident occurs. That is what we are saying as enabled staff. After that, we know that there is an employee in the company. Even if the business hours are ending at 8 p.m., he is working till 11 p.m. And after 11 p.m. also, sometimes he is sleeping in the company only. He is not going home. Now, there is a possibility that theft can happen. He can also die in the company if the air conditioners are not working, or any other incidents are happening. So what will you do now? Will you terminate the risk or treat the risk?
Treat the risk.
Okay, we will treat the risk. What we will do is we will give instructions to the security that to check each and every room after the business hours are over, and if the person is not listening or he is not behaving properly, take measures according. So that is what we will do is we'll treat the risk. Okay, it is not something unavoidable. Okay, employee cannot say that I want to stay here. Okay, we can control it. So we will impose controls, we will reduce the risk or eliminate it. Okay, after that, now we are using an older version of Windows. We know that there are some bugs, or there are some programming errors, or there are some coding errors. These errors are replaced by the new version of Windows. So there is a risk that the hacking companies will exploit these vulnerabilities in the system. So what you will do is you will replace the technology, you will update your information systems with the newer version, or you will connect with a new vendor. Okay, you will shift from Windows to Apple. Okay, so here we are terminating the risk. Okay, now as per strategy, I will once again give the examples. Bad customer feedback, tolerate the risk. Newer version of Windows or Apple, terminate the risk. Fire, transfer the risk. Employee theft, treat the risk. Earthquake, flood, tsunami, turn back or ignore. Okay, so these were some risk management strategies. Now let's see the next question. We have seen key governance practices of GEIT. Can you guess what are the key governance practices of risk management?
Evaluate, direct, and monitor.
Whenever this question comes, the points are the same, only the theory part or the content that you have to write that will change. All the key governance practices start with evaluate, direct, and monitor. We will evaluate the risk management. Again, we will examine our current environment. Then we will visualize our future environment. Then we will conduct a gap analysis and see whether the risk is within the risk appetite of the organization. If the risk is within the risk appetite, no problem. If it is more than that, we will do the above risk management strategies. That is why we have this risk management strategies to treat the risk which is above risk appetite. If it is within risk appetite, we will not use these risk management strategies. After that, we will direct risk management. We are taking the further measures now. We will implement controls to reduce risk within the risk appetite. RA is risk appetite. After that, we will monitor risk management. We will see whether any procedures, any deviations are there, any areas are there that we have not covered, or there are no controls implemented in those areas. We will report the same and take corrective actions. Okay. So in the last point, the important keyword you have to write is corrective actions. Here, corrective actions. So this was again an easy question. Key governance practices of risk management. The theory is the same. Evaluate the risk. If the risk is within risk appetite, then fine. If it is not there, we will use risk management strategies. We will implement controls. After implementing, still if there are some defects in the procedures or there are any deviations, we will correct them. Now let's see some sources of risks. Okay. Tell me, out of these sources of risks, where can you categorize tsunami, flood, and earthquake? Out of these sources of risk, where will you categorize?
Natural event.
Natural event.
A natural event. So they have covered it by heading natural event. Now, political circumstances. What does that political circumstances have to do with your information system? Recently, India banned 59 apps of China. So if the company was using some of those apps, okay, in CA firms, CAM Scanner is a very widely used app. What is CAM Scanner? It scans your documents, it creates digital copies, and then it enhances those images. It is a truly beautiful app. But now, because of political circumstances, okay, we can also say that for the sovereignty of the country, we are not using those apps now. So we will make that modifications to our business processes now, as we cannot use that CAM Scanner now. Till now, there is no other app that is as good as that CAM Scanner, but we have to make changes to the business processes. So there are going to be some risks. So that was the example of political circumstances. Then economic circumstances. There is a drop in the share market, or now we are importing some information systems from the outside countries. There is a problem with the customs and all now again. So these will be covered under economic circumstances. After that, we have technology and technical issues. We don't have the system management staff, or they are not qualified enough, or we are not able to understand which technology is better suited for us. That can expose you to some risk. After that, individual activities, as we took the example earlier, employee theft. The employee is not leaving the organization, or he is not going home after the business hours are ended. Then management activities. If the management is asking the employees to do the overtime, and if the security is not in coordination with it, so this will be covered under management activities, where not all the activities are not coordinated. Some are doing overtime, some are not doing overtime. Then there is a delay in conveying information and all. The security is reaching late. The employees are waiting outside. So these all are the management activities. Natural event we saw, flood, tsunami, earthquake. Then human behavior. Now let's take a funny example of human behavior. You have fired someone in the IT company. What he does is he goes to his cabin, he packs up all his things, as well as he packs up the server in the cabin, and he takes the server with him to his home. All the data of the company is stored in that server. Okay, so you have to make sure that when you fire someone, access to the server or the server is not present in his access. Okay, the access must be withdrawn. He should be escorted immediately outside the organization, and whatever things which belong to him, they should be rendered to him accordingly by someone else. So that is why we are taking human behavior. After that, commercial and legal relationship. Sometimes because of our relationships with the vendors over the years, we prefer doing contracts with him, but there is always a problem that we may overshadow a new technology which is more better than the previous vendor. So that can also be a problem, commercial and legal relationship. Actually, 3 points out of these sources of risks are from PESTLE analysis of your strategic management. Out of that, only 3 I have taken as PET. So PET, IM, NHC. You can remember the sources of risks by PET, IM, NHC. So this was an interesting question, how the risks can approach the company or the organization. Now let's see some characteristics of risk. Each and every risk have different impact. This impact will lead to a potential loss. If there is a benefit, then we do not call it a risk. So all the risks, they will have some impact. We will measure this impact as potential loss. So the first point is potential loss. We don't know with certainty that anything is going to happen. So there is uncertainty, but we can estimate the probability of its occurrence. So there is an uncertainty, but we can estimate probability. The second point is uncertainty and probability. And then what probability we are talking about? We are talking that a threat agent will get some information about the vulnerabilities of the system, and when the time is right, he will exploit the vulnerability. When he exploits that vulnerability, it is called as an attack. So we are talking about probability of an attack. So if a question comes, what are the characteristics of risk? Just write these 3 points: potential loss, uncertainty, and probability of attack. This can come as a 3 marks or 2 marks question. Now let's see key management practices of risk management. We are only talking about risk management now. These are all questions are related to risk management only. We have seen what are the key governance practices, then sources of risk, characteristics of risk, then risk management strategies, then the relationship between information system risks and risk management. That was basically your common points. So this is the second last question in risk management. How we will do now risk management? Okay, what are the key management practices? First, we will collect data. We will make a list of all the activities. We will categorize the activities into critical activities and supporting activities. We will also make a list of the risks to which those activities are exposed. Okay, so that is what we will do in collect data, risk identification and reporting. We will make a report of it and we will communicate it to all the stakeholders, because the stakeholders will respond better to what will be the probability of occurrence of such risks, and whether the risk report that we have prepared, whether it covers all the risks or not. That is what we are doing. We are collecting the data. Then we analyze the risk. How do we analyze the risk? We will now calculate the impact or the exposure of the risk. We will see how it will impact the business activities. That is what we will do, analyze the risk. Then we will maintain a risk profile. We will maintain a risk profile. We will do profiling of risk. We will state the name of the risk, then what all measures we have taken to reduce the risk. Now, whether the risk is within the risk appetite of the company or not. So that is what, and what is their probability of occurrence. Okay, that is what we are maintaining, the inventory of risk. After that, we will articulate the risk. What does this mean, articulate the risk? We will communicate to the stakeholders that these are the risks. If they materialize, this will be the potential loss. This is the exposure. So make sure that you know these controls and you exercise them, because if you don't, this may happen. Okay, so you are actually talking with the stakeholders about the risk and what actions he must take in articulate the risk. Then we will define a risk management action portfolio. Okay, as soon as the risk materializes, what all controls you need to make sure you have, then what all procedure you must follow to make sure again that the risk is within the risk appetite. Okay, in each and every point we have to keep on mentioning it again and again. Risk appetite, risk appetite. And the last point is, see, in the second last point, risk management action portfolio, we are talking about having an action team. If the risk materializes, this action team will make sure that the controls are used, the procedures are followed, and it will give a reasonable assurance that this risk is within the risk appetite, which is also called pain threshold or level of tolerable error. The last point is the respond to risk. Obviously, the action team will reach on the site. It will try to reduce the risk. It will limit the magnitude of loss. Okay. In the last point, they have used the word magnitude of loss. They have not said potential loss or risk appetite. The term they have used is magnitude of loss. So the same things they are saying again and again. You have to find out what is the common theory. And as per that, you have to twist the points and use that theory. Now, we know the key management practices. We are going to prepare reports and all. You have to make sure that there are these 4 points in your reports also. The first point is percentage of critical business operations or IT services covered in risk assessment. Percentage of critical business operations, IT services covered in risk assessment. If you are preparing a matrix, okay, risk assessment matrix you are preparing, here it is usual that we are going to make a list of all the activities. We are going to categorize them into critical and supporting. But if there is a case where the activity was not covered, which was said to be a critical activity, then we can say that the risk assessment matrix is not adequate. The work done is not correct. We can say that if any critical business operation was left out. So that is why we will have a sample copy of all the activities and we will cover it, we will compare it with the risk assessment matrix prepared by the organization. And we will calculate this percentage covered. It has to be 100% in all the cases. If it is not 100%, immediately we will report it to the senior management. After that, percentage ERA including IT risk. What is ERA? It is enterprise risk assessment. Now we are talking about the risk assessment of the enterprise. We are not just talking about the IT risk. So we are trying to calculate whether in the enterprise risk assessment, IT risk assessment is also involved, and if it is involved, then what percentage does IT risk assessment constitute in the enterprise risk assessment. If it is 100%, it has to be 100%, then it is fine. After that, number of significant IT related incidents not identified in risk assessment. If there was some incident in the company which was related to IT, where the risk has materialized and the controls or procedures were not effective enough and we suffered a potential loss. So that kind of incident has happened. But even after the incident has happened, we have not implemented any controls, or if still the procedures are not being followed, then we will make a list of such incidents, significant incidents. Okay, the word that they have used here is significant. If it is a nominal or trivial, we will ignore it. If it is significant, then we need to make a separate list, because that is a matrix of measuring the effectiveness of risk management strategies. So number of significant IT related incidents. What is ITRI? IT related incidents not identified in risk assessment. Okay, which risk assessment we are talking about? In the enterprise risk assessment. And the last point is frequency of updating risk profile based on status of risk assessment. As now the technology market is changing again and again. There are always some risks attached to our business processes. Any change will attract a different risk. So what we have to do is we have to update our risk profile as per the changes in our business process. If we have IT professionals, they know that what a single change in business process will attract what kind of threat, what kind of risk. Okay. So that is what they are saying, that we need to keep on updating the risk profile. Yes, now we are going to link this risk management using COBIT-5. First of all, what is COBIT? COBIT is a software where we will find the best practices in the world. If you are using COBIT, you can say that you are using the best practices in the world. Your system has the most accepted integrity universally. So that is why we will compare as what additional benefits we will have if we are using COBIT-5 and what are our normal practices in risk management. Remember one thing, COBIT is implementing COBIT-5 in the business takes a lot of time. It is very expensive, but if you are installing COBIT-5, you have achieved the top level information security standard. That is why in auditing of information system, we have this concept COBIT-5. Can anyone tell me which organization launched COBIT-5 or issued COBIT-5? Okay, it was ISACA. ISACA, okay. Okay, at least tell me what is the full form of ISACA?
Institute of Information System and Control.
Association. Or association.
Control.
That is correct. We will stop this recording for 5 minutes and we will again resume the session.